Today's topic is Broaden Your Freelancer Digital Toolbox with Brian. So we will talk about Brian and specifically about the needs and the toolbox of freelancing consultants. Therefore, I'm so happy to have also Torsten Krüger today with me in the call. And I would start with a short introduction of me. Then Torsten will introduce himself. Afterwards, I will tell you a little bit more about the story behind Brian. And then Torsten will tell you about his toolbox and how Brian fits in. And then at the end of our meeting, we will have the chance to answer all your questions you will have. So the story behind Brian starts also with me as a person. So maybe a few words about myself. I've been for 15 years in management consulting in the Roland Berger Stewart in Munich, Germany. I love problems and challenges. Therefore, I'm also a passionate triathlete, and I'm proud to have finished 2 Ironman races. And I'm building Brian since 2017. And how this story came, then I will explain then on the next few pages. But maybe before I continue, I would ask you, Torsten, to maybe shortly introduce yourself.
Yeah, so hello from me also, and thank you very much for joining this session. I'm Torsten Krüger, representing my own company for change. I'm, let's call it a solo consultant, a freelancing consulting. I'm in computing since 40 years, as you can probably see with my gray hair over 50. I'm using handhelds since 25 years. My friends call me a gadget man. And I'm working since 25 years in management positions, mainly in telco and mail order business. And since 25 years, also working in innovations and change. I had installed the first automated email response team within America Online, 1998, for example. And I had the first 3G UMTS video customer care department, 2004, for Vodafone. I'm working as a freelancing consulting since 14 years, mainly in the field of lean and operational excellence and restructuring, from carve-outs to ramp downs, moving people and all that stuff, but also in the last years in agile, gamification type of work and hybrid tools. Therefore, I'm experienced in over 20 management tools. I'm a Lego series play trainer, Playmobil Pro and other Kanban and Scrum methods, and I'm industry agnostic advisor. Let's call it I'm flexible. So maybe from a craft worker to corporate, I'm happy to support.
So thank you very much for this. And then I would just say, let's move on to the content. So I would like to provide a little bit more story background why we have built Brian. And the story begins at night. So I've been for 15 years in management consulting, as I mentioned. Too many nights worked on exciting topics. I love this job. Otherwise, I would not do it for 15 years. And but I've seen that some of the tasks are not really fun, are repeating. And at the same time, there are amazing teams around the world building on multiple solutions. So for every problem, almost there is an amazing solution. So behind every of these logos, there is an outstanding team who is building a cool solution, performing some interesting tasks or providing some exciting data. And the idea was when I started to Brian to make the best data sources and digital services available through the simplest possible interface. And then I started also to experiment with digital tools and natural language processing. And then it was quite fast clear that the best way how to connect multiple digital services and data sources would be via a natural language. And this is how we have built Brian as one access to selected online services and data sources, which integrates selected tools. So basically, Brian has the 24 skills which are designed especially for management consultants and similar professionals. Brian is really an automated solution that there is nobody behind doing all these tasks. Therefore, he can deliver 24/7 within 3 minutes. He combines multiple skills in one solution, what reduces the complexity for the user, because you as user don't need to know where all the data come from. We are always very flexible where the data comes from, but you don't need to bother with this. It means lower cost, because then you can save the cost of other solutions, and you have also more insights, because Brian has access to many paid or more paid databases, which he includes. As first, we integrated him via email, because this is the predominant communication channel in business. And everyone has an email, and the hurdle to get started with Brian is very low. As of now, we are working also on MS Teams integration, which will increase the speed of Brian and allow us also to build additional UX elements. You don't need any software download or credentials management to have access to Brian, because once Brian knows your email or your company, he will answer all your questions. There are no setup or training costs necessary, because we are using natural language as if you would cooperate with an intern or working student, or with a junior colleague. But still we can optimize. So for larger corporates, it's interesting that the results Brian provides can be customized according to look and feel, but also completely custom solutions for the specifically defined for the needs of the clients. And of course, confidentiality and privacy have high priority, because Brian deals also with confidential information. So, which skills do we have? Maybe just a short overview, because Torsten will deep dive on this. It was a little bit more in more detail what is relevant for the freelancers. But basically, we have built five skill categories: translation of complete files, handling of documents, especially conversion of them, slide graphics, research tasks, and more. The most proud we are of Brian translating documents from 100 languages to 100 languages. And in the research area, it's that he provides information on all publicly traded companies around the world and millions of companies in Europe. So this is basically the overview of his skills. Maybe just a bridge to Torsten's part of the presentation. So we have built Brian especially for management consultancies. Like I've been working for the 15 years before I dedicated my life to Brian. But we have realized very quickly that Brian is also being a very relevant solution or a tool for freelancers. Therefore, I'm happy to talk with Torsten today. And also, when we talk about use cases like translation, documents, and analysis on companies, of course, not just management consultants around the world are translating documents. So we are happy to offer our solutions also for corporates. But let's focus now on the world of freelancers. And I'm now happy to hand over the word to you, Torsten, and you can take it from here. Before, maybe one additional point: if you have questions, we'll have room for questions at the end of our session. You can put them in the meeting chat, and Mac, our amazing Mac, will then collect and prioritize the questions, and we are happy to answer those. But also you can just crash the meeting afterwards in the Q&A session and ask your questions directly. But feel free also to put them already in the meeting chat. So now the stage is yours, Torsten.
Thank you very much, Pavel. Yeah, just as I'm just flipped to the next page. As said, I'm a freelancing consultant since 14 years, and I'm always interested in new tools and new tech. I'm a bit of an early adopter. I'm pretty sure that I've followed you, Pavel, and AskBrian since the start. And I've been one of the first customers. So please let me tell you something about my tool set and how AskBrian fits in. And I haven't mentioned that when I presented myself. This slide template I've amended is being sent by Brian. I've asked Brian for a slide template with a simple sentence: "Hi, Brian, send me business slide templates." And that was the result, which just was a very easy start to write the presentation slides for this session. Like the same slide about me, it was also from Brian being delivered. So, and I've also asked Brian for a quote. It's mentioned here on the page. And Steve Jobs recently said, every once in a while, a revolutionary product comes along that changes everything. It's very fortunate if you can work on just one of these in your career. Apple's been very fortunate to in that it's introduced a few of these. And I would answer to Steve, if I would have the chance to, that I've met him, that I've also found my perfect setup and my perfect tools. I have a lot of devices started from Linux and a lot of Apples and all and Macintosh and Chromebooks. And the good thing in all these cloud software and email software like AskBrian is that it works on every device. And in special situations like I need to set up small tools with big impact. So what are my favorite tools? First and foremost, of course, as I'm a solo surviving freelancer, it's my CRM system. It's Close, and what I really like about Close, maybe you have already tried HubSpot or Pipedrive or so CRM. Close is able to provide a freelancer with a special template set. I will show later on in a video how it works and some parts of it. And Close has also some inbuilt automation process with Evernote. For example, when I have a meeting template in Evernote being filled with all your names, it's been saved in the timeline. I've linked my Gmail. I have a self-scheduling app like Calendly. I had a different one in the years before, but now I'm using Calendly. And this is all linked to my CRM. So every contact with a prospect or a lead is saved in Close. And of course, also in Evernote, if I make any note in Evernote. Maybe you ask yourself, why is Torsten talking about Evernote, which is such a simple tool, everybody knows it, it's a no-brainer, but I'm a really heavy and extensive Evernote user. I use my Evernote since 10 years. I have 10,000 notes at least. There are also some other cool gadgets linked to Evernote, like Filterize, and you can link Evernote also to MS Office with Zapier.com. It's my all-in-one. I use it every single day. You can format different layouts with special apps, which works perfectly with Evernote. Like also Iowa, sounds strange, but formerly called Drop Task, and it's a bit like a mix of a mind mapping, a collaboration, a whiteboard, and a Kanban style tool like Trello. And that's also linked to Evernote. So the tasks are being read out of Iowa into Evernote. I'm a process management consultant. I do process improvements, and sometimes I need to visualize workshops. And I've used draw.io in the past. It's a free tool, but SmartDraw with a low-cost monthly fee is able to bring the boxes into a logical route. So therefore, I love SmartDraw, and like with synchronizing with other tools, SmartDraw is also able to be shown in Trello or in Confluence. So if you have any kind of hybrid project, you can work agile, and you can also have some swim lanes or races shown to the team in SmartDraw. Yeah, Canva is also very popular. It's my marketing tool. You can easily design a logo or a social web page. It's been supported from Guy Kawasaki, who is a very famous marketing guru author. And I love Canva. It's low cost, really big impact. For me as a freelancer, I wouldn't survive without. Toggle Track, formerly known as Toggle, is a time tracking tool. I hate when my clients just tell me, please fill in this 80-year style looking timesheet in Excel. It's every time the same. It's an Excel file. There's no tagging in the file. I can't link it with my invoice. So therefore, I'm using Toggle to have an overview and a very powerful report being added to the invoice. Get My Invoices is also a very cool, smarty tool because it fetches my invoices from my suppliers, from travel management out of the email. But not only this, it's also connected to every account from Lufthansa, travel accounts, Deutsche Bahn, Amazon. And Amazon, you probably know by yourself, normally you are not able just to get any kind of a typical VAT invoice from a Chinese supplier or from a foreign supplier. And Get My Invoices is sending as an invoice bot to the supplier, please send Torsten a VAT fulfilling invoice. So therefore, Get My Invoice is really also a very strong part, a core part in my toolset. It's linked to my bank account, so it suggests if any kind of deduction from my account should be linked to an invoice. And it's also linked to your FreshBooks or QuickBooks. So therefore, you have a process from getting the invoice or the order into your accounting, and that saves money and time for your accountant. And AskBrian, as said, that's my Swiss knife in the tool set. I love a lot of features, and I would just want to deep dive in some of them. So here it is. That's also a template being sent by Brian. And also, if I may mention, the icons being placed on the templates is from the AskBrian icon library. So why is Brian? Why do I love so much Brian? I was recently in a project and got the order. Please translate that PowerPoint into German and build a class workshop training set deck for it. And I used Brian, and I finished translating 21 pages in a day. Normally, I would have spent at least 2 or 3 days. And because of the automated IE translation, I got that saving, and the client got the saving. So it's quicker, and there's only minor graphical amendment. I will show in a bit a video of it, how it works. When every new prospect or lead, which is from a company, I ask Brian, that is working probably only for DACH region. Is that right? North Data is the supplying database, correct?
North Data provides information on companies in Germany, UK, Switzerland, and Poland now, right. But the most detailed information there is for German companies.
Yeah. If I may just say, I would like to have it for the Nordics as well. So if you can work on that, it possibly would also help selling in the Nordics for me. So I do company analysis. I sent Brian an email saying, please send the company analysis for a prospect company. And I can save that into my CRM database mentioned close before. So like said, you have consulting methods, you have icons, you have slide templates at hand. And I've also done some shrinking and reducing the file size via Brian for PDF. That has replaced my small PDF and PDF expert costs for that tools every month. So therefore I'm using Brian as well for that. And in general, when I ask for industry reports, I'm quicker set up. I can go into the briefing with the client and start on an analysis in any kind of new industrial area. So and overall, it saves time for me and money for my clients, and I had the wow effect in the past.
And now we are coming to the Q&A part of our talk. So we can take your questions from the comment section, but also you can ask us directly.
Maybe you can answer Marius's question, which was a bit more comprehensive. He says, I saw that for the research part, you are mainly relying on data from Refinitiv and North Data. What degree of access do you have there? Will AskBrian provide the same amount kind of data as if I have a separate pro account at North Data or Refinitiv?
So if we talk about company information, then we have access, as you correctly mentioned, from Refinitiv for publicly traded companies and North for the private companies. When it comes to the public companies, Refinitiv has, of course, much broader data scope. They don't cover only the company information, but information about commodities, markets, and so on. And the part of information we have access to, and you as a user, is the part of company information. And basically, if you ask for analysis of Tesla, Microsoft, and so on, you get almost everything. Refinitiv knows about these companies, but you cannot, for example, ask for commodity prices and so on. So if you talk about public companies or Refinitiv as data source, you have a very, very big overview of their skills and their data, so to say. And when we talk about North Data, you get via Brian basically the same data, just with a different user experience as if you would use the Pro service on their web page. So there are still some exceptional companies where you get sometimes when you pay multiple times the fee to Brian, you will get a little bit more information, but we are closing this gap every week. So basically, you can say yes, the Pro account access via North Data. It's just different user experience or user interface to the data you get via Pro account from North Data. So the short answer would be you get almost everything. Sometimes usually much better prepared for the needs of our target groups, what are especially consultants, and of course much easier and cheaper way.
All right. So the next question was from Anatol, and he asked for an overview of the skills. I just sent in the chat the skills page. Pavel, off the top of your head, how many skills does Brian have right now?
So we have a structure of currently 24 skills. The most important ones are translation, company analysis, and slide graphics. But there are also some smaller skills like business models and some consulting project methods, and some funny parts like jokes and so on. So in total we have 24. But in fact, the kind of inside information is that Brian understands 400 user intents. That means he understands much more than he can deliver right now, and we are extending his understanding capabilities all the time. And when we see that there is a kind of question coming over and over again, which Brian is not able to answer, this question is asked frequently, then we extend the skill set of Brian accordingly. I just see in one of the icons below that Michael is having good time with his friends. I'm happy that we are part of this round with some wine and friends. Yeah, so this is how you need to do it. So 24 skills as of now. Last year we added 12 of them, so this is approximately the pace we are having. This year we will add a little bit less because we are focusing on integrating Brian with MS Teams and adding some company-specific answers to the general questions.
Pavel, I have a question. Can you just tell you about some more skills which are in the roadmap? Is it correct that it's 50 skills being planned to be rolled out?
Yes, so we have a mind map you would call it, where we structure all the use cases we are asked about, and there are approximately 60, 70. Many of them are just currently, with the current stage of technology, quite complicated to implement. So the biggest dream of our users who we talk to is building scribble to slide. That means that you draw a picture on a piece of paper, on a flip chart, make a picture of it, a photo of it, you send it to Brian and say, hey, turn it into a cool slide. And then when we would have something like that, we have a big interest in this skill, no matter if we are talking about freelancers or representatives of the Big Four. But this, I believe, will take at least 2 years to get implemented, and this is kind of a big implementation effort to make this. But we see how the technology is developing. There will be a day where we'll be able to also launch this kind of skill, but not in the next 2 years. So the skills we have in the pipeline for the next months are especially improving the UX for the company search, where we had large clients asking us that you can, in one interaction, ask Brian to get the information on multiple companies at once. That you don't, if you need data for 5 companies, you don't need to send 5 individual emails, and to provide the information in a way that you can compare this information. And this includes recalculation of the data in one currency, that you can say, hey, I need all the data in euro and dollar, and Brian recalculates this. So this is a rather improvement of the current skills. Then one skill we have, to be honest, in the pipeline already for many months, but we struggle with the times, how much Brian needs to perform it, is that you can send audio recording or video recording to Brian and ask him to transcribe it. And the thing is that if the video or an audio note is 30 or 60 minutes long, it takes 20-25 minutes for Brian, using the best technologies available, to transcribe this audio or video into text. And this means some challenges for our architecture. But this is something what we have in a late stage of development. We have built also together with the help of some student consultants from Germany. Also, we have built a reminder skill, which will allow you to use Brian for kind of resending of emails. So please remind me on this, or resend me this email then in a few days, weeks, months, or years again. And this is also, again, a different kind of skill, where you which doesn't just work like ping and pong. You get answer, question and answer, but you get question, answer, and the next answer in few days, weeks, or months. So this is what we are working on, and we have also some other cool skills in the pipeline right now. But as I mentioned, currently we very much focus on improving the experience with company analysis and the MS Teams integration, which will allow us to also to use other and more advanced user experience elements.
Speaking of user experience, I shared the survey where users can help us define skills. So you can also have a say. Pavel, are you ready for the next question?
Yes, I am. And yes, and maybe also Torsten can take one, but I'm ready. I'm always ready.
All right, you guys can fight over it, yeah? Is it possible to get the sentiment analysis from social network regarding stocks?
So this is an interesting topic. We had similar requests when people asked us if it's possible to get some sentiment or qualitative information about particular companies as kind of enrichment of the company profiles. And this is something we have in mind, including news analysis and sentiment analysis from social media. If you talk about stocks, I would expect that you talk about publicly traded companies. And yes, this is something we have a look at, including the regular news screening, so to say, for the companies, but also for social media. So this is something we have in mind, but probably in 2022.
Okay. Torsten, do you have anything to add, or no?
Not for this case. I'm just thinking about that. My CRM can also track some company LinkedIn profiles. closed CRM can track that.
Understood. So this is an interesting question of people information or people intelligence, right? So as of now, this was one of the use cases we had very early on our list. It would be amazing to say, hey, what do you know about Torsten Krüger? Yeah, for example. So, and that you would get more than just the information you have on the LinkedIn page, but what is everything you know about Torsten Krüger from different data sources. And if we would find text from you that you have written, it would be also possible, of course, to using some tools to create also your psychological profile, right? But then there was the big news about Cambridge Analytica and so on, and this is just, it sounds very evil, right? To provide kind of profiles of persons. So even though it's possible, we didn't implement it because we don't want to be evil and to provide insights on persons. Maybe it's rather a subjective perception that this is a dangerous area to enter. Maybe in one day, in a certain way, we'll implement also people intelligence in Brian. But as of now, we just decided not to pursue with this topic.
If I
Maybe
may,
not evil, but just a bit too Big Brother.
Yeah, too much Big Brother. Yes.
but
Unless
sorry,
you're planning on doing evil things with the information.
Yeah.
but sorry, Meng, but and Pablo, if I may add, some of the agencies who do offer freelancers on the market are already capturing psychological informations about the applicants, like Komach from Berlin is doing with MBTI, like Myers-Briggs type indicator study on my person. It is available, if I may say.
So
Yes.
what's the most interesting bit of data that they can define from a person so far?
Yeah, I'm not sure. There have been some databases on the market which collected from social webs, but I think they have already gone. So I don't know any kind of cloud service which is collecting from all these different social web profiles. Beside my own close CRM, there's also a tool called Link Match. I can type the application into the chat, and that is able to be linked to HubSpot. I haven't tried it, but this is also collecting some social web informations.
Is it more with like GDPR in Europe and then looking at the US market? How do you think it differs in terms of what you can find over here and what you could find in the US? I think we have some joiners on the call today that are in the US, so maybe it's interesting for them to know.
Yeah, you need to ask your prospects if you can say that. That's right. It's not fully compliant to the GDPR data protection.
Interesting. All right. Next question. I think this one's for Pavel, but also Torsten, feel free to answer as well. What is your current and your planned business model?
So our business model at AskBrian bases on a subscription fee. So everyone can try for 14 days and then decide which kind of Brian license one's needs. So we have basically two versions of the Brian product for the individual users. And this is one is the full version of Brian based on a monthly subscription fee of 30 euro per user and month, which includes all the skills of Brian, including the great database of Refinitiv and so on. And if you decide that you don't need the research capabilities of Brian, the extended research capabilities of Brian, you pay just 8 to 10 euros per user and month. So it's very customer friendly, consumer friendly pricing. And for companies, we have also pricing which is based on periods of time and number of users or seats, but then we have only one price per license, where we include also some other value-added services in the price of the product. So basically, it's a subscription based model. And maybe it's interesting to add that in a few weeks we'll implement also a free version of Brian, and this way we'll move to the freemium model, where we'll allow after the 14 days, when you have full access to all skills of Brian, that after these 14 days, if you believe that it's not worth for you to pay the 8 or 10 euros a year per user and month, you can keep also a free version of Brian with a very limited extent of functionalities. And the main functionality of this Brian Free will be the translation of documents into 100 languages, but limited in regard of the size of the documents at 3 megabytes per file. So there will be also a free version of Brian, but then only with translation and some PDF acrobatic skills. All the other features will be only available in Brian and Brian Pro license package. So the short answer is the subscription fee, and we are moving to freemium.
If I may add Pavel, and if before signing up into on Brian, I've checked the price for the DeepL fee in parallel, and it seemed more expensive than the AskBrian for me, and therefore I decided, not also because of the ergonomics and the ease of use, to use Brian. And within the projects I've translated in the past with Gengo, with the human translator, which is also very quick in 24 up to 72 hours, but cost 14 cents per word. And of course, my own website is translated with Gengo, but the most of the documents within the project I translated with Brian, and then I checked the sentence, and there was only minor changes on the language.
Yeah, so we are very happy about the quality, and also here the translation quality improves continuously. So for our corporate clients, what we are also offering is custom translations, that you can adjust the terminology of the used translation according to your needs, that your special terms are translated in the main languages correctly. So this is maybe just one additional point,
Great.
Less important or relevant probably for freelancers, but maybe for some corporate users. And yes, we have extremely competitive pricing. So basically we are cheaper than DeepL, but provide 24 times that many skills, like compared to DeepL. And we have also 100 languages, and also support translation of excellent PDF files, what they don't do. So we are quite proud of the translation skills of Brian.
It's very helpful for freelancers that live in Europe that only speak English, I must say. Pavel, do you think you can name all 24 skills off the top of your head?
That's a good test. Why are you doing this to me, Meg? Just to have fun.
I think we're out of questions, but I actually wanted to ask Torsten what his favorite skill was. Maybe he addressed it earlier and maybe I missed it, but just what your favorite one is, or if you've tried out any of the jokes and if they're funny.
No, I've only tried the quotes. I haven't tried the jokes so far. I have some jokes on the shop floor with the clients, but the translation is awesome, and the slide templates are really, really good. I use it here. So, and I'm not a big fan of PowerPoint normally, but I've also used Prezi and Haiku Deck and some other tools, but I save time with the Brian here. So these two features are my most beloved ones. Megan.
Torsten, if you could make a wish when you say this is the most annoying part in my freelancing job, what kind of wish would you make for the next skill of Brian? What should be the next skill of Brian?
Yeah, let me take it from the other side. And maybe I said already, I've just spent 550 euros on statista.com to have access to free sources. And today there was on LinkedIn from Frank Thelen a slide on artificial intelligence, and he didn't mention the source. And I've looked up in Statista. So if Brian could speak with Statista, you really, I would kiss the computer.
So
You kiss Brian, you mean?
You would kiss Brian, if this would be even possible, virtually kissing Brian. So in fact, we are talking also with Statista, or there have
Great.
been multiple talks with Statista. But the thing is that the data space is extremely diverse, and they are using many third-party data providers, which they cannot resell to resellers. So this is part of the problem. But we were searching for ways which of their data or they provide we could include via Brian, and we see this need for further statistics on certain markets. So when we did a survey, what our users wish the most, they searched for market data or industry data, qualitative information like what are the challenges in this industry, trends, key numbers, main players, key development. So this is what the users are very much interested in, and Statista would be a great source, yeah. But not possible.
It's not only the analysis bit, it's also a part of marketing. When you look into the change of LinkedIn in the past weeks and days, what I haven't expected in the past, that people are posting in German, because OpenBC, formerly known now Xing, is near to death. But Statista has a shitty page, excuse my French. And if you could help them, and I had that discussion with the key account over there, just asking me as a freelancer for 7,000 euros for full access for a year, and I need their information. I just want them just to let's say, to make some studies which I then post on LinkedIn, and Brian could help.
Yeah. Of course, when we then talk with Statista and other data providers, for us it's always kind of a challenge that they ask also themselves how much is harming the cooperation with Brian, right? Do they endanger their future clients or existing clients by providing the data via Brian? So what's the cannibalization effect of it? Yeah. So this is then a little bit complicated.
Maybe they can survive with all these corporate big automotive companies, but I think they're going to be a dinosaur. So therefore, ask Brian could leverage that.
Okay, thank you very much for your optimism. Yeah.
We do have another question actually. Is there a fill list of all Brian commands? Pavel, if you want to take this.
So the fill list of all Brian commands, I think this fits the best with our skill map. So if you ask Brian about his skills, I don't know if you can see it now, the slide I share. Then the slide 18 of 24. This is when you ask Brian, hey, what are your skills? You get a nice answer plus a PDF file, which is a structured overview of all his skills. And if you click on these text elements of this provided file, this writes your next email to Brian, where you have the right email address in the recipient of the email and the default wording for this individual request. You don't need to stick to it, but this is how it improves and makes your life easier to write the next email to Brian. So this is the list of all the commands of Brian on a one-pager. But of course, then there is also the skills section of our webpage, where you have a very lovely overview of all the skills of Brian, and you can click it. Then you see the scope of the data, the source of the data, and how you can ask for which piece of information. So this web page provides even more information about how to deal with Brian. But if I would be asked, hey, what's the overview of all the commands for Brian, the default commands for Brian, then I would say it's the skill map, which is provided after you have asked about Brian's skills.
Have we demonstrated the click to ask links? Can I share my screen maybe and show how that works?
I'm using that mostly, Megan, the click to ask link from the website.
From the website or from the emails?
No, from the website. From I log into AskBrian on the website. It's a very long page, and with some jump to links, but it's easy to move through the site.
Yeah,
That's
so
that's the
yeah.
PDF. I've used that as well in the past.
Yeah. So, and we truly see, Torsten, what you do is that when we last time did the analysis, we have seen that 42% of all the requests Brian receives is driven by or triggered by the click to ask links. And this is how it works. Like, so if you have it as a PDF, you just say, hey, send me your standard icon set. You just click it and you see it directly drafts your email to Brian. And then it's, hi Brian, send me your icon collection. And he always in this click to ask links also provides the link to the icon collection or to the skill or to part of the web page where the skill is described in all the detail. And then you just need to send out and you get your answer within 2-3 minutes. So this would be how it works. So, and you can ask or trigger this request also by the web page, as Torsten mentioned. Yeah.
Pavel, are there certain requests that take shorter than 3 minutes? Like what's the quickest request that Brian can return?
So if you ask him, how are you or something. So if there is no file involved, so this is the fastest request you can get if you ask him, hey, how are you? Or yeah, so if there are no requests, no files involved, or if you ask him, what's the meaning of life? So we have prepared him also for this kind of small talk questions where I'll give you some answer. I don't know if it will be helpful, but he's ready for this kind of request. And these files as requests with no files involved are the fastest. And then in MS Teams, it will take just few seconds. If files are involved, especially conversion and translation of documents, it takes a little bit longer. And I mentioned the transcription of audio files to Word files. This will take probably more minutes, even via MS Teams.
Okay, cool.
So we are almost at the end of our session. We have 3 minutes left. I don't know how to best to finalize it. So
I think
yeah?
you should share your favorite joke that Brian.
So the bad thing is that the jokes of Brian are generated by a web service we cannot control, right? So it's rather that I'm very often kind of ashamed that the jokes are often not really funny or that are in a kind of insulting. So this is a skill we are not promoting very much, but still until now nobody had sued us because of the of the jokes, and I have a terrible jokester memory. Maybe Meg, you want to share one?
I mean, I'm pretty sure all the ones I saw were Chuck Norris based.
Yes. So,
but I would urge everyone in this session to give it a go and see what joke Brian comes out with.
Yeah, this would maybe have to do for every participant. Just ask for a joke and vote how bad it was. Yeah. So.
Do you want to talk about something else that's happening soon? Another presentation you're giving tomorrow, maybe?
Yeah, so tomorrow I have the honor to speak at the HHL Leipzig University or the institute, and it's a very well known educational institution in Germany, and I can tell my story about how I found my CTO. So it will be less about Brian as a product or AskBrian as a company, but the main audience in this session will be students, and many of them have the idea of creating own companies, building the next unicorn. And I've been asked by the students to share my story, how a management consultant or a guy who doesn't know any coding, how you find a CTO, a co-founder, which will technically help you to build a company. So tomorrow evening, I will share some insights. It's also a free session, so everyone is free to is invited to participate. And there are some amazing speakers, and I'm very proud that the students of HHL invited me for having me. For example, there is the leader of the FDP party in Germany, so Christian Lindner, and I don't know how I made it, to be honest, that I'm sharing the stage with this kind of person.
May I ask, Pavel, because I'm also trying some other artificial intelligence company from France, which is called Julie Desk, on scheduling meetings as well. Will Brian ever got a wife?
Brianna.
Brianna. So, in fact, her name is Scarlett, and she's assisting me with trainings when I talk about new technologies in NLP. So this is a virtual assistant talking via phone. So she's not text-based, so she's voice-based. And Scarlett, I just love this name. But in the future, the idea is when Brian will become too broad, that he will get brothers, sisters, and so on, with defined or designed specially for the needs of other target groups. So this is definitely the idea. Yes, but we are not there yet.
And another question, if I may add, how many of the clients give feedback on the quality Brian deliver, the 4 or 5 stars at the end of the email when you ask for quality?
The ratio is not that high, so I don't have a number, but if I would need to guess, I would say only 3%, 5% of the requests receive a feedback, even though we made it so simple with 1 click, basically, or with 2 clicks. Yeah, so maybe we could emphasize it a little bit more. Yeah, but it's not too much. It's not too much. But it gives an indication what skills the users are happy about and which we need further to improve. So I would say, as you said, Torsten, as we've been preparing our call, a good manager can be recognized that he starts a meeting at the right time, so without a delay, and that we finish it also on time. So I would like to thank you, Torsten, for joining our discussion today, and all dear participants, and Mac for organizing it. Thank you very much. If you have questions, you have our contact data. Just reach out to us.
If I could say one thing,
Thank you. It was a pleasure.
If anyone wants to rate Brian 5 stars by email, you actually can review him on Capterra and get a €20 gift card. So if you are incentivized by that, go ahead and rate Brian, and and treat yourself.
Thank you very much, Mac, for this. So it's enough. You gave a 5-star feedback, and Brian gives you a link how you can earn €20. So this is the deal. So thank you very much all for your support, and thank you. Happy to stay in touch. Bye bye.
Bye bye.
Bye bye.
Cheers. Stay safe. Take care. Bye bye.